talking about how to make a killing. So what I want to do today is I want to replace this hole with one right here. We're going to put a hole right here, and this is going to be our main way of getting up and down, I guess. And it'll be epic as shit. And then after that, we can start working on like a pathway, like a more official pathway. No. So a few nights ago, funny story. A few nights ago, I'm trying to find a movie to watch that night, as I usually do, which means I'm just browsing streaming services until I find something that I am mildly accepting to watch. Lo and behold, I see, I'm looking at movie after movie. I'm like, no. Then I see How to Make a Killing. Okay, why not? But like, I didn't want to watch it really because I've heard so many bad things about it. It doesn't have good reviews. It's got like a 6 point something on IMDb, which if you are an A24 film and you've got a 6 on IMDb, that does not give me hope that you are going to be a worthy watch of my time. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I'm putting down? And I'm already coming off the back of watching The Running Man, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to watch another Glen Powell joint. But I put it on, and I watch it, and I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the hell? I'm freaking out. Like, why? Like, at first I'm like watching it, I'm like, this is not bad. This is like, it's not the best thing I've ever seen, but it's way better than whatever the hell critics are calling it. Yeah, I really dug this movie. Dig it. Glen Powell is good in it. Way better than The Running Man. He plays a very similar character to the character he played in Hitman. It follows a man who is the heir of a big estate, a billionaire estate, but is essentially disowned by his family. So feeling mistreated by his family and feeling left out, he decides to kill off all the other members of his family that would be ahead of him to inherit the trust, the family trust. You know, when you lay down a trust. I don't know anything about finances, if you can't tell. It's a kind of a comedy. It's kind of a thriller. It's mainly a thriller. There's a lot going on. It's a mixed bag, like a lot of films today. This is a movie where everything about it that's like, in terms of like what it's going for, is just on point. No, I didn't get my sword out in time. Like, every aspect of this movie is just working and is solid, as in like, it's maybe not the best that I've ever seen, but like, everything is like coalescing very well with each other. The cinematography is great at times, the editing is great at times, the music kicks in at times. Like, it's all coalescing, it's all working well together. But yeah, Glen Powell, he despite the fact that he's kind of played this role before with Hitman, he works very well. He's great in it. Margaret Qualley, or whatever her name is. She's great. Like, everybody in the movie's great. Topher Grace is in the movie for like a very short period of time. He plays like a pop star / televangelist. Even he's good, despite not usually. There's a lot of jokes that pop up via the writing, but also the editing as well. Like, it's a mixed bag. And they work very well. Like, I was chuckling by myself a few times while watching this, which is hard for a movie to do. The movie, despite it having some serious moments, it's also like, the characters are interesting. Like, each of the characters that he has to either kill, or, you know, Margaret Qualley's character is very interesting. Like, she works very well in like engagement with the main character. Each of the people that he's like trying to kill has their own, like, you know, personality. Like, the first character is like this asshole kid just using up all the money, getting drunk. And so when he dies, it's like, oh, do I really care about this character? And then there's other characters that are kind of like the second character is kind of a you know what, but you don't really feel the same way. He's not really that much of an asshole. He's just kind of like a pathetic character to some extent. It's more or less having fun with this setting and this story, and it does exactly that. It does it very well. So in the film, you see him killing off all these characters. He will explain how he does it and what the reasoning is, and how no one suspects foul play. But like, despite that, there were multiple times when watching the movie, I wish the film went to more explaining how he was able to pull off some of the stuff. One of the characters, how he kills them off is by poisoning their mug. Like, I wish I would have seen more behind the scenes. He pulls up with like a pen and a paper and he's playing it off as if he's a news reporter. He's like writing down notes and everything, and when the guy looks away, he like uses the pen to squirt liquid into the mug that he's drinking out of. That's like some crazy like James Bond shit where like you have a pen that can squirt liquid. Like, did you buy that off of Amazon? Like, if you bought that off of if you bought that, like, is that not gonna like be traced back to you? Like, they don't even bother trying to explain that type of stuff. He's just like, oh, I squirted this protein into this guy's drink. He's already established as being a big drinker of protein.
And you're gonna add some protein.
And he's drinking too much of it, so he dies from that. So nobody assumes that, there was any foul play. So it's like, okay, that's cool, but like, there are still things that people could still suspect you of. And it's not like the FBI don't suspect him at all. Like, it's not like it's that unrealistic. Just, there were some points where I wish they explained more of it. That would have helped feel less like this is unbelievable. Point is that there were parts of the movie where they could have done more explaining as to how he got away with the crime. Like, there are times where he does it and I'm like, okay, people would like, do people not see you like around this area? Like, half the time he's getting away with it because nobody is paying attention to his face and nobody recognizes him, which is weird. Because by the end of the movie, they clearly established that the head of the household that he has to finally kill, his grandfather, suspects that he's doing this. He suspects that he's the one killing off all the family members. You would think he would have communicated with all the family members like, hey, watch out. Here's a picture of your nephew or whatever. If you see him, be aware of the fact that he might try to kill you. That's like the only thing that kind of makes sense. But that doesn't happen, I guess. I don't know. There are flaws to the narrative, but I still enjoyed it insofar as I felt like the filmmaking was like holding it up. One of the things I liked about the movie is how this character, it's not just a movie like, oh, he's killing billionaires and he's gonna get the money and this kid was owed this amount of money. The movie is very much questioning the morality of the character and is being cheeky with it, to the point where the movie knows that the character is like morally, okay, I almost died, is morally bankrupt, and the character is self-aware of this by some point, and that he's kind of a sociopath, despite him sounding reasonable. Again, just like Hitman, he very much projects his own perspective onto the world, and it shows a lot of his own insecurities. There's a point where like he's in the beginning of the movie, he does a line where he's like, he jokes that like, we're taught that money doesn't buy happiness. It's bullshit. We know that money buys happiness. Let's be adults here. That's like a verbatim quote. That's like questioned throughout the movie. Like, that's constantly brought up as a question of like, do you really believe that? Like, is that really true? In a way that works very well with the story. Like, it expands the character's perspective. His whole philosophy is laid out in the film, but there are times where that's questioned, both direct and indirect ways of his behavior, which is exactly what you want in a really good story. It's like the philosophy of the character being questioned based on his behaviors and the consequences of his behaviors. Like, there's constant times where he's repeating that he doesn't really know what he wants out of his life. People ask him like, what do you want to do? Like, well, he's like, oh, I want to inherit this fortune. I want to make a lot of money. And people will challenge that and be like, well, okay, like, what do you want to do after that when you make money? And he's like, I don't know. Like, it's very clear that this kid, given this idea that he is owed this inheritance by his mother like instilled in this idea that like you were owed this money and it was taken away from you, and he's kind of just like ran with it, which it creates it's a very interesting character dynamic or character flaw. So that right away, like, the writing pretty solid for the most part, despite my ups and downs with it. On the more technical side of the film, this movie is got like some really great shots at times, some really great. Looking at the music, like the music in this movie, at times it's like really in the background, and at times it's more in the, it's taking center stage of the film. There are some really beautiful pieces in the film that are perfectly match the richness of the characters. Some of the songs are like very memorable. They're very unique in how they sound. There's like a few points. There's one song that plays when shit's hitting the fan and like things are escalating, and it's got this really weird beat to it. So like this is one of the songs. Like this is. Like that's the type of beat. It's so awesome. Like it works so well with the film. And then there's even like there's songs like that, but then there's even songs where like there's like one moment where a big confrontation happens and something is revealed and things are like really escalating for the character. Slowly but surely in the background you can hear an electronic dance beat start to play in the background, and it just hits it. Like it's so different from the rest of the score, but it hits so hard and it works so well, and you're just like, yeah, okay, yeah, keep this going, and it just goes and goes and goes. It goes. Like everything about this looks too derpy. Like this side looks too like circlish, and this side just looks like a square, and I don't like it. Yeah, so the music's great. The cinematography and the editing is really great. Like everything works very well together to either establish like comedy or a more suspenseful tone. The scene where he kills the rich kid on the boat by dropping the anchor and having him tied to it. Everything is being narrated by him. So before he kills him, he says to himself like, okay, well, he's telling the priest this, but he's also telling the audience this as well. He says that, this is a moment where I started to self-reflect about, like, what am I about to do? This is my first time killing somebody. Am I really going to go through with it? And then everything gets cut off by him accidentally dropping the anchor into the ocean and just looking over at the kid and being like, so I'm your cousin. And then the kid just getting pulled into the ocean and dying. Really great comedy. And the way it's edited, it's like the edit interrupts him talking. It's like very, very good. And then that's like, we don't hear the rest of his narration, but we know what he's telling the priest. He's telling him that he accidentally dropped the anchor. It's very clever. It's very it's not even clever. It's just good editing. It's very good editing. Good writing on top of it. Another shot in the movie, this is towards the end, is again spoilers. By the end of the movie, he's killed off all the family members except for the grandfather, who invites him to come to his mansion that he wants to inherit. And so he goes to the mansion. The grandfather, he hands him a shotgun and says like, yeah, this is an antique shotgun. Like he's making it clear to the main character that he knows that he's the one going around killing everybody. He basically gives him an opportunity to kill him. And the main character doesn't go through with it. He stops himself either because he knows that he would go to jail if he did, and that's not how he wants to do it, or because it's kind of interpretive. Like he's either thinking like he doesn't want to go through with it, he's done, he doesn't want to go this far. He already by this point has climbed the ladder of success. He gives it up and then he goes to leave. And he's not being escorted out. He just walks out of the room, goes back to the entrance, and he goes to open the door and it's locked. And he's like knocking on the door. He opens like the little like see-through slit to see if anybody's outside. And you just see, he looks out and you just see a point of view shot from his perspective of the waistline of one of the maids or one of the helpers outside, not helping him, not opening the door for him. And you don't see his face or anything. You just see his waistline standing there very creepily. And it's like at that moment, it's not said what's about to happen, but it's very much implying like, oh, he's about to get hunted down by the grandfather. And the main character knows that, and it's like nothing's being said, but like it's communicated so well. And you just have shiver. It's like almost up there with like No Country for Old Men in terms of like hitting you with like suspense. And so he goes to hide. Like it's very like that, but that shot alone is just like perfect. And the sound design as well, like hearing the rain outside, like very like just good stuff, like really good filmmaking. And again, it's easy for this movie to paint everybody in the movie as an asshole, but like some of the family members that he needs to kill are not really assholes. They're not really bad people. Like stuff like that. I feel like a much lazier movie. Or I feel like in today's age, it would be quick to, portray everybody as evil. And just to make everything feel more justified in what he's doing. Like, I know that a lot of directors, their first thing to do would be to just make everybody an asshole, make the main character feel like, be a victim, be a complete victim, implicitly justify all of his actions in the film. There's a lot of movies that do that. Like the Final Destination movies will always just portray everybody as an asshole so that you don't really feel bad for them dying. But this movie doesn't really do that. There is some de-aging that takes place in the film. So the grandfather character is played by Ed Harris. We see him in a much earlier time in his life, and then we see him in current times where he's much aged, like he is now in real life. They've utilized much of the tactics that you would expect in any movie where there's a lot of de-aging, where the lighting is very dark. They have him in the shadows anytime he's on screen from the past. In some movies, I would say that's lazy. There's a lot of movies that do that where, like Supergirl, where everything is like super dark to hide the imperfections in the CGI. You see that way too often today. In this movie, they're doing that. They are absolutely doing that. But also works with the film. Like his character being in the dark in those scenes, being underlit, works because it's helping the narrative. There's also some really good like reincorporation, like basic shit like that. And the ending is really good. Perfectly, it's a unique ending where the main character kind of just like acknowledges that he's kind of what he's doing is morally flawed. Like he acknowledges that, but he doesn't really care. He essentially breaks the fourth wall in that sense, which is like a unique way for the character to be like, to end the character's story. That he's not really, morally justified and that he's being very scummy. Really, really great filmmaking. Solid script that works very well. I would give this one a 6. No, it's a 7. I don't agree with the critics. The critics were wrong. I tell you, the critics were wrong on this one. F the critics. I don't get to say that often because I usually agree with them. If I were to call myself a critic. If people get to just like, if podcasters can make political commentators, I can be a film reviewer, okay?